Okay, so this is a story about the olden days and when you had the cabin, right?
Right.
So about what year?
And I had to be in the 60s.
Okay, in the 60s. All right, go on with the story then.
Okay, we decided the day after Thanksgiving we would go to the cabin. And so my mom and my brother Dick and his son and I got the snowmobiles and we went up to the cabin and it was snow but the snowmobiles handled it okay and we got into the cabin and we got up to the lake and then we had to walk onto the cabin because we couldn't get across the lake with the snowmobiles.
Wasn't frozen.
No,
And what? How'd you get across the lake then?
there's a dam across there.
You couldn't ride the snowmobiles across the dam?
Well, no, it wouldn't. You could go across the dam, but you couldn't get up the other side.
And what month was this?
Well, it had to be in 60 something.
No, what month? Like what time of year was it?
Day after Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
And so then we got into the cabin and got our fire built. We had a big old stove in there and we had wood in the saved up for fire. And we got the old cabin all warmed up and it started snowing. And it snowed and snowed and snowed really hard. And by the next morning, there was about 5 feet of snow. And there was no way the snowmobiles would go in that soft snow. So I made some skis out of 2x4s. And one pair for Dick and one for me. And we'd go down every day to where the snowmobiles was by the lake, and we'd dig them up and get them up on top of the snow so they wouldn't be buried and we couldn't find them. And it was so windy and we'd cross the dam and the wind was blowing so hard it almost blew us off the dam down in the creek below, but we'd crawl across the dam and got over there and take our snowmobiles and dig them up on top of the snow. And every day we'd do that because every day it snowed another 2 feet or so. And so we'd walk down there on our homemade skis and dig the snowmobiles out of the snow and get them up on top. And so we was up there several days and our family decided that they'd hire a plane to come in and see if we was okay. And so the plane come in and he made a thing that stomp in the snow if you're okay. And so we stomped the thing in the snow that we was okay. And they dropped some stuff out of there and we got in it and then
They dropped your supplies and stuff?
yeah, but we had plenty of food anyway, but they dropped the stuff in there. And then it was 10 days later, it kept snowing. Snow was 8 feet deep, just powder snow, and you couldn't go anywhere without them big old 8-foot skis I made. And we'd go down the lake every day and dig this skidoos out of the snow and get them on top again. And then after 10 days, why, Ed and my dad and my brother they got the snowcat going, and they hauled it up there and came into the lake, which is about 8 miles into the lake, and that was as far as they could go with the snowcat. So they had some
Snowshoes?
snowshoes with them. So they got on the snowshoes and came up to the cabin. It was about 2 miles. They had to walk up the mountain to get to the cabin, and they got up there, and we was fine, and they stayed all night, and then the next morning we got the snowshoes and headed back down the hill to the snowcat.
Because you didn't want to stay in the cabin anymore, all snowed in, or?
No. Well, they needed to get out. My brother had his business going, and he had to get back. And my dad didn't want to stay up there either, so, and we didn't either. We was ready to get out after 10 days up there. And so they took us down to the snowcat and got everything going, and of course the skidoos wouldn't go in that soft snow, so we would follow the track of the snowcat. The snowcat would make tracks, and then we'd follow the tracks in behind the snowcat, and
Is that how all y'all came in there? Is just a couple of skidoos?
yeah.
With your supplies, with everything?
Well, we left stuff at the cabin all the time.
Mm.
And so
How many people came in on the snowmobiles?
it was just my mom and my brother and his son.
So 4 of you.
Yeah. And it was the day after Thanksgiving when we went in there. And we was in there 10 days.
Was that fun?
It was okay because we had plenty to eat and had lots of wood stored up, and big old stove. And we stayed warm all the time and had plenty to eat.
Plenty of good conversation and fun, or?
Well, we kept talking about the Donner Party when they got snowed in. It was up in that same area where
Oh.
Donner Party got snowed in. And
So you're talking about who was going to die and you're going to eat them?
yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And so my Dick's little boy, Mom made a cake in the old oven there, and he says, "Are you guys trying to fatten me up so you can eat me?" I remember he saying that.
How old was he?
He was probably 5, 6 years old.
So you had a 5-year-old, and then you had people really old, so all kinds of ages then.
Yeah, my mom was in her late 60s. And
Wow.
then my brother was 3 years younger than me, and I was probably late 30s.
Ah, okay. Well, that sounds like quite an adventure.
It was, and then we got back, and the newspaper got a hold of it. We was snowed in and got out, and they put an article in the paper about us being snowed in and got out. And
Wow, do you have a copy of that?
I did. I don't know where it is at this point, but used to have a thing on that.
So you were famous.
Yeah.
Wow. All righty. Thanks for sharing that fun story about being snowed in and how you got rescued.
Yep.
Anything else you want to share about it?
Well, except that we got back and the trucks, the pickup and the stuff that we had, trailer and stuff, we had to haul the snowcat and everything. We had to dig them all out because they were snowed in, and we was close to the Highway 80. It was Highway 80 where they'd stopped and left the vehicles. Then took the snowcat in over the mountain.
So that was a lot of digging out of everything, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you made it through and you're here today.
Yep.